I've always talked about my weight in my stand-up, but in the past, after shows, if I ran into audience members, they'd be like, Jim, you're not that fat. You're not that fat. But now after shows, people are like, good show. You nailed it. I don't care. I like to eat. I like to eat. When you like to eat, what's weird is people assume you enjoy cooking. Well, you must know your way around the kitchen. I know where the food is. Well, you must love to cook. Look, I like to sleep. It doesn't mean I want to build a bed. The truth is, I don't like to do anything. Like when I order delivery, I'm kind of annoyed they don't know what I want already. What do I have to do, everything? I did lose some weight last summer. Thank you. Thank you. I did. Well, I have my appendix removed. It still counts. I didn't know what the appendix was, and since I'm an idiot, I just pretended like I did. The doctor was like, we have to remove your appendix. And I was like, both of them? Luckily, he thought I was kidding. He's like, I'm so grateful he didn't call me out. I don't know what it would have said, like, there's only one appendix. Oh, appendix. I thought you said lungs. To me, they sound similar because I'm dumb. I didn't know what the appendix was, but I don't feel that bad. The doctor told me science isn't even sure what the appendix does exactly. Science isn't even sure why the appendix exists. And I heard that and I was like, oh my gosh, the appendix is like a Kardashian. It is. Think about it. It's a mystery to everyone. But for some of us, it causes excruciating pain and needs to be removed with a knife. Obviously, I'm not promoting violence against any of the Kardashians, just the mother. There's always one person that gets too into that joke. Yes, kill the mother. Kill her and smear her blood on my face. I think it's strange science doesn't know what the appendix does. That means nobody knows. You never hear science doesn't know, but Earl has a theory. Earl, when you were cleaning the toilet, you mumbled something. How is that an acceptable answer from the entire scientific community? Yeah, we don't know. Well, back to cloning everything. And they just removed the appendix. That's the solution. Take it out. We don't know what it does. So I returned to my family, and we immediately went on a hike. And it was great. Alaska's beautiful. My kids were having fun. I was pretending like I enjoyed being outside. And then suddenly we saw a bear like 500 yards away, this huge brown bear, like way bigger than a gummy bear. And I was so excited because I watch nature shows, but I had never seen a bear in person. So it felt like a celebrity sighting. I was like, oh my God, I've watched you on Animal Planet. It's so much taller in person. Can we do a selfie? But unlike a celebrity sighting, there was the risk of death. Like you never hear, we're in a restaurant, Tom Hanks walked in, and then he came over and murdered my family. That never happens. But the bear was far away. So I took out my phone and I started taking pictures. And then suddenly the bear stood up, roared, and looked right at me. Started creeping towards me, tilting his head back and forth, almost like he recognized me. That guy looks like Philip Seymour Hoffman. I was terrified. Luckily, we were with a tour guide, and I looked at him, and he goes, don't worry, I have bear spray. And I was like, do you have anything stronger? Like a bear gun? Because I don't think this bear's approaching to get his hair done. And the bear kept coming. And then suddenly the tour guide goes, okay, I want everyone to start walking backwards slowly. Walk backwards slowly. I guess so the bear could catch up. So we started walking backwards slowly. By then, the bear was in a full sprint. I had surgery 12 hours ago, so I smelled delicious. I was also sunburned, so I probably looked like a giant land salmon. The bear couldn't believe his luck. Like, I'm not gonna have to eat for a month. He was like, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna be eaten by a bear. Which is ironic, given how many animals I've eaten. So I started humming Circle of Life and continued walking backwards slowly. I should point out, it's not like we were walking backwards slowly to a car or a cabin. We were walking backwards slowly to nothing. It probably looked like we were teasing the bear, like, come and get it, Mr. Bear. You looking to get a little grizzly? Craving a little 2XL, are you? And before you knew it, the bear was upon us, and he killed us, and we died. Such a bloody mess. No, what really happened is at one point the tour guide pulled out this thing. It looked like a pen. I was like, great, he's gonna ask for the bear's autograph. And I learned later on it was a bear flare, and he squeezed it, and this tiny fireball went out towards the bear, and I was like, oh good, something to anger the bear. But the fireball bounced off the bear stopped, and then just ran the other way like it forgot something at home. And we all looked at each other like, oh my gosh, that just happened. And that's a true story. Well, most of that's true. Well, it's all true except there was no bear. No, there was a bear. I've identified there are 2 times when it's socially acceptable to lie. To spare someone's feelings, it's okay to lie. It's also okay to lie to cover up a murder. Allow me to explain. When we discover someone's a murderer, we also learn they've done some fibbing. But we tend to focus on the murder part. You never hear, I'm angry he killed that guy, but frankly, I'm more upset about the lying. It's the dishonesty that bothers me. Some trust has been broken. Speaking of lying murderers, I watch a lot of Dateline. I don't want to brag. Some other winners out there. If you're unfamiliar or you have a life, Dateline is a news magazine show like 60 Minutes, but at one point, Dateline just went all in on murder. And it's usually spousal murder. Like if you watch Dateline, it appears most marriages end in murder. Every episode starts the same. They had the perfect marriage. But you know someone's getting killed. A husband, a wife, sometimes they'll get someone else to kill their spouse, which seems impersonal. It's like you took a vow, do it yourself. Anyway, I was watching this one episode of Dateline about this guy who murdered his wife. It was gruesome. I was watching with my wife on our anniversary. My wife didn't care. I mean, she wasn't thrilled I was taking notes. What are you writing down? This guy's just sloppy. It's like he's trying to get caught. If anything, this guy's plan was foolproof. What he did on his anniversary is he threw a party for him and his wife, and they invited all their friends so that they could see how happy they were. And then the next morning, he took his wife fishing. He rented a boat, he brought a cooler, some tackle, 3 concrete blocks, and a tarp. You know, for fishing. And he would have gotten away with the whole thing. But 3 months after his wife disappeared at sea, he got engaged to a stripper, which is kind of suspicious. And to celebrate their engagement, they dropped acid, as tradition would have. And while tripping on acid, he admitted the whole thing to his fiancée. And she turned him in because she didn't appreciate the dishonesty. And as the episode ended, all I could think is, I'm a terrific husband. I've never even thought of murdering my wife. Well, I've never made plans to murder my wife. Well, I don't own concrete blocks. can see some of you are like, Jim, I don't like the murder jokes. I don't like them. But wouldn't it be great if in a week you learned I was a murderer? Because then you could brag. You could be like, oh my gosh, we were at the taping for a special. And he had all these jokes on murder. Were they good? Not really, no. He was better at murder than comedy. Recently, I was invited to a surprise birthday party. It was a surprise birthday party for a dog. That's right, I have friends that are mentally ill. I went. It was in my apartment building, and I needed the material. And to be fair, the dog was surprised. Didn't suspect a thing. Dog didn't know it was his birthday. The dog didn't know it had a birthday. The dog wasn't sure why people were in the apartment. It was the dog's third birthday, which in dog years doesn't matter. Someone made that up, and we just went along with it. Oh, 1 year equals 7 for doggies? Okay. When I see a dog, I'll do math. That's not fulfilling some dog need. You know, there's not a dog sitting in a bar right now going, I'm not 3, I'm 21. I can legally drink. That's not how dogs keep track of time. If you have a dog, you know they don't keep track of time. You've left your home, forgotten something, walked back in, only to be greeted by your dog like you've just returned from war. They're back! It's a miracle! They're back after I don't know how long, because I'm a dog! These poor dogs! We just attach these points of view on these poor dogs. Like dog is man's best friend. How desperate are humans? We're best friends, right? Dog's like, well, aren't we different species? But we're best friends forever. You know, you locked me in the house all day with nothing but a bowl of water. You'd think you let your best friend sit on the couch. We're best friends. Now put on this fireman's outfit. We're gonna do a photo shoot for Instagram. You know, sometimes when you sleep, I think about eating your face. But I get it. I love dogs, too. I love animals. We all have the friend that announces they love animals in a way that implies the rest of us are drowning kittens. Yeah, but I love animals. Well, that's a pretty exclusive group of just you and anyone who's not a serial killer. Yeah, but I just get along with animals better. Or humans don't like you. I did have an opportunity to go on a safari, which was unbelievable. It was breathtaking how bad the Wi-Fi was. I went on a safari, which is just a fancy word for animal stalking. Because that's what you do on a safari. You follow animals and watch them. You're like, beautiful. Lovely weather out there. I prefer the cold to hot. I do. I know that's surprising looking at me, given I look like a snowman. But I prefer the cold, you know? Last summer, I was in Las Vegas. It was 114 degrees. 114 degrees. You can actually hear the sun at that point. It didn't feel safe. I was like, are we supposed to be here? 114. Like, you're never at a friend's house. You're like, warm in here. Yeah, I set the thermostat to 114. That's how I like it. I'm part lizard. Thermostats don't even go up that high. Meat thermometers do. I think God is just cooking people in Vegas. Oh, no one's smoking. I love smoked meat. It was 114 degrees, which was shocking, but not as shocking as how casually Las Vegas residents just went about their day in that heat. It was like, you're like, let's play Frisbee. Time to walk the dog. I was like, get inside! The earth is on fire! Get inside! beg for God's forgiveness. You've obviously angered him. That's why Vegas is called Sin City. It's the same temperature as hell. I have a friend from Vegas. I told him it was 114. He goes, that's nothing. I'm like, no, that's something. That's actually the temperature you boil water at. He's like, it's not that bad. Not if you're making ramen. He's like, that's our summer. That's not summer. Summer is when you barbecue on a grill, not the sidewalk. It's so weird to be places where summer is the enemy. I was, like in the Southwest, they talk about summer like it's an ex-lover they never want to see again. We gotta get out of here before summer gets here. Last year I couldn't leave my house when summer was here. You ever notice the further north you go, the more obsessed people are with summer? Like in February, I was in Bangor, Maine, and everyone was talking about summer. Everyone I met, they're like, you gotta come back during summer, you gotta come back. Which is a strange way to greet someone. Hi, how are you? Come back later. And it was everyone. Or, you gotta come back during summer, you gotta, yeah, but I'm here now. Just make sure you come back. I didn't want to come the first time. But I love how northern cities sell summer. They're like, summer here is unbelievable. It's perfect. For 1/12 of the year, it's ideal. Otherwise, it's a tundra filled with alcoholism and depression. But for those 13 odd days, it's worth it. I don't horseback ride, mainly because I prefer to be comfortable, and it's not the 1800s. I'm sure the horses aren't thrilled either. They're like, why am I carrying you around? I saw you drive up in a Honda Civic. But people like the horseback ride. I have a friend, she told me the reason she enjoys horseback riding is because she loves horses, which seems like a strange way of expressing love for something. Making it carry you around on its back. I mean, I love my great Aunt Katie. I'm not gonna make her carry me around on her back. Not anymore, yeah? I don't even know why we have to specify that it's horseback riding. Other people are like, hey, you wanna ride a horse? What part? The part that looks like a seat, the back. Oh, good, because I've done horse ass riding. That was painful. I kept falling off. I should probably tell you, the rest of the show is all horse jokes. Is he serious? There are different types of horses. He's gonna keep going, isn't he? No, there are breeds of horses, right? Which is different from horse breeding. I don't know if you've ever seen two horses breed, but that'll keep you awake at night. If you've never seen two horses breed, do not YouTube it. Do not YouTube it and print out still images. Don't do that. Don't affix your face on one of the images and show your wife think it's funny. She won't think it's funny. But that says more about her than you. What was I talking about? Horses. It's strange how we treat horses. We give horses shoes. I don't even know if horses need shoes. You never see a horse in the wild walking around like, ow, ow. Wish I had some damn shoes. We give horses shoes that are metal. Metal? That's worse than Crocs. That must be hard to shop for, right? Do you have anything in metal, but not a slip-on, something I could nail to my foot? That's what we do, we nail it to their foot! And when we're not doing that, we're literally tossing the horseshoe around as a game. The horse must be like, what the hell are you doing with my shoes? Probably looks like we're taunting the horse. Hey, horse, why don't you come and get your shoes? Go and grab it all you can because you don't have hands! The horseshoe, a symbol of luck for everyone but the horse. I don't know if this is true. Someone told me that when horses are sent out to stud, some female horses will wear high heel horseshoes. Makes them more confident. I'm gonna be paying for this later on, huh? Oh, and I've been on my feet all day. That's gotta be the end of the horse jokes. Horse people, and I'm not talking about people that are half horse, half human, which are centaurs, and they don't exist anymore, right? No, people who own horses will tell you that the horse can't even feel the nail going in their foot. Not that anyone's ever heard a horse go, that's fine, hammer away. Next time, glue, just don't tell me where you got the glue from. Oh, that was too edgy? There's no horses in here. There's not a horse in the front row going, hey, take it easy on the glue, Joe. I love how some of you look forward. Is there a horse up there? It's strange how we treat horses, you know? The most shocking way we treat horses is when they break their leg, we shoot them. That's a harsh medical plan. And someone explained the reason they shoot horses when they break their leg is because it's unlikely the leg will heal properly. And I was like, unlikely? So there's a chance? Can you imagine how stressed out horses must be? Like, I stepped on a branch. It was a branch! Put down the gun! Look at the branch! It's a branch! Even if they're injured, they're like, I'll walk it off. I'm gonna walk it off. Put the gun down. Jeez, you guys, anyone... You ever heard of Ben Gay? What's going on? Put down the... Often the museums are art museums, and those are the most intimidating, right? Because in art museums, they tell us what is the good art. We have no say in the matter. They're like, that's good art. Oh, okay. I'll take your word for it. They treat everyone like a child at an art museum. They're like, don't touch anything. Nobody touch anything. I wasn't gonna. Now I kind of want to. Everyone's speaking in hushed tones. Be respectful. We're about to look at the work of a madman. He painted this after he chopped off his own ear. Why are we whispering? Van Gogh's dead. Even if he was alive, he couldn't hear us. Recently after a show, someone came up to me, they're like, you know, it's not pronounced Van Gogh, it's pronounced Billy Joel. I do find it hard to leave art museums, mainly because I can't find the exit. Great, another room filled with paintings of ugly Dutch people. In the 1600s, they painted every ugly Dutch person. Hey, you're hard to look at. Can I do your portrait? Making that hay look good, aren't you? Fine art, I sometimes feel like it's wasted on me. You know, like the Mona Lisa, we've all seen the Mona Lisa. The most beautiful smile in the world. The most beautiful smile. I'm like, have you seen Halle Berry? Heck, have you seen Chuck Berry? I don't even know if Mona Lisa's smiling. To me, it looks like she's just came from the dentist. She's like, Novocaine's wearing off. Art museums will occasionally ask if you'd like to become a member. Would you like to become a member? How often would I have to come here? I think I can only pretend to be interested once. There's always people sketching in an art museum. I always point them out to security. I'm like, copying. Got a forgery happening mid-forge. Those art museum security guards, you know, they're important. Some of that art is priceless. Some of it's on loan. You see that next to a painting, on loan from a rich person. The poor people may look at my art. Don't let them get their peasant fingers on it. Some of that art is priceless. Recently, a Da Vinci painting sold for $450 million. Like, what room do you put that in your house? I put that in the game room. It was a Da Vinci painting, Salvatore da Mundo. It was a painting of Jesus, but it's not like Da Vinci even knew what Jesus looked like. He painted it 1,500 years after Jesus walked the earth. So he was just guessing. He's like, I don't know, he's got brown eyes probably? I don't know. He probably just painted someone he knew. You know, back in the day, people are like, what is that, your nephew Eddie? Da Vinci's like, no, that's Jesus. The savior of the world. Eddie's wearing the same outfit as him. That's a coincidence. It's gotta be hard to work in a hospital. That hospital lighting, everyone looks sick in that hospital lighting. I walked in, they're like, we should get you to the ER. I'm just here to see my wife. Well, you have jaundice. See, compared, oh my gosh, I have jaundice too. We all have jaundice. When my wife would nap, I'd go to the cafeteria. Hospitals have the most cutting-edge medical equipment, but they're still serving food like it's Shawshank Redemption. How about selling an MRI machine and getting a pasta station? Jim, you're a monster. There's different sections in hospitals. There's the emergency room, the intensive care unit, which sounds scary, but I don't know why anyone would want to stay anywhere but the intensive care unit. It kind of implies the rest of the hospital's like, look, we care, but we're not going to be a spaz about it. I get a phone call, I'm going to take it, right? We're like the mediocre care unit, which is better than we couldn't care less unit. Those guys are horrible. It's wild. My wife was in surgery for 10 hours, and before the surgery, the surgeon told me, he goes, halfway through, I'll probably stop and get lunch. I don't need to know that. Why even tell me that? Was he afraid I was gonna run into him in the cafeteria? What are you doing here? I get these cravings. Those Snickers commercials are true. But he was a great brain surgeon. We learn later on that he's like the best. I don't know how they determine the best brain surgeon. You know, maybe there's a competition. America's Got Tumors. Heidi Klum thought he was the best. The best brain surgeon. Isn't it enough that someone's a brain surgeon? None of us can even get in med school. A brain surgeon goes to medical school, afterwards specializes in neurology, after that specializes in surgery of the brain, and we're like, yeah, but are they any good? Yeah, they're a brain surgeon. You know what they do with the bad brain surgeons? They don't let them become brain surgeons. Can you imagine the pressure on a brain surgeon? At no point during their workday can they say, hey, it ain't brain surgery. Because it's always brain surgery. Every day. What you do at work, honey? Brain surgery. That's fun. You want some fruit? Never! My wife had she had an amazing team of doctors. She had the brain surgeon. She also had an ear, nose, and throat doctor. Ear, nose, and throat, that kind of sounds like they didn't make the cut for brain surgeon. I want to be a brain surgeon. You know what? Let's stick with the ears, nose, and throat. You'd be better with the things surrounding the brain. Can I have the eyes? You know what? Let's stick with the ears, nose, and throat. We promised the eyes to the nerd at Lens Crafters. Why pick on optometrists? Those ear, nose, and throat doctors, they must look at dentists and think, just teeth? That's it? What about the tongue? Not the tongue, just the teeth. You just work on teeth, surgery on teeth? Oh, I don't do the surgery, that's the orthodontist. I mostly scrape stuff off of teeth while I listen to 80s music. I love Debbie Gibson. When you think about it, dentists, they don't do the surgery. They don't even clean the teeth. They're like, you guys do everything, and then I'll come in and jab them with a sharp object. While I listen to Debbie. I'm ignored at my Y. I'm ignored at all health clubs. Like when I walk into a fitness area, even in a hotel, people always look at me like, I didn't know they serve food here. The only people that approach me are personal trainers. They're like, you looking for a personal trainer? No. You should be. So I've gotten to the point, if I'm approached by a personal trainer, I just act like they're hitting on me. They're like, hey, how you doing? I'm married. I don't think you understand. I understand perfectly. You want to get with me, but I'm taken, so you can look, but no touchy. I got to do some international shows this year. I performed in Japan for the first time, which was amazing. I mean, I wasn't in Japan just for stand-up. I was also modeling. I wish that wasn't that funny. But Japan, the Japanese are just, they're better at being human. Can we admit that? They're more polite, they're better at design. The Japanese toilet, are you familiar with the Japanese toilet? The Japanese took the most disgusting experience of human existence and fixed it. The Japanese toilet washes you, dries you, does your taxes. And that is in a Tokyo airport bathroom. You leave a Japanese public restroom cleaner than when you walked in. You leave an American public restroom with PTSD. Your only thought is, how can I forget that experience? Is there alcohol nearby? The entire time I was in Japan, I felt overweight, probably because I am overweight. But generally, the Japanese are thin. I mean, there are people that are overweight in Japan, but not like in America. We're better at not being thin. Because if you get really fat in Japan, they make you sumo wrestle. They make their fat people fight each other to entertain the thin people. And the fat people in Japan go along with it. Well, why am I doing this? It's prestigious. Now you try and push that other fat ass out of the circle. Oh, we try not to giggle. But first, throw on this giant diaper and put your hair in a bun. It's very dignified. The Japanese are quiet and polite. They're like the opposite of my children. I had my kids with me, and they were always making loud noises. Occasionally, I would catch a Japanese person looking at my poorly behaved kids, and then they would look at me, and I'd always say the same thing. We're Canadian. Of course, we're not Canadian, but that is what some Americans do when they travel internationally. They tell people they're Canadian, which I think is cowardly. That's why I always tell people I'm North Korean. Then I get the respect I deserve. How much attention does the country of North Korea need at this point? Every 2 days, North Korea's like, we're gonna blow up the world! Isn't there a party that's like, then just do it? Like, the UK is not that different from the US. You know, if anything, you go over there and it seems like British people are trying to be different from Americans. They're like, oh, you drive on the right side of the road, then we're gonna drive on the left side of the road. Oh, you call your mother Mom, then we're gonna call ours Mum. Oh, you call that a cookie, then we're not going to the dentist. I know that's cheap. I did notice something when I was over there. You know, British people, they don't say the before hospital. You ever notice that? They're like, hospital? I was feeling knackered, so I went to hospital. Whenever they would do that, I'd say, stop that, that's wrong and weird. Are you trying to sound like a polite caveman? And I had a friend from London, he was like, what makes you think you're doing it properly? And I go, because I'm American and we invented the English language. It was a pet peeve of mine, so I did some research. You know why British people don't say the before hospital? Because they're dicks. Sounds harsh, but admit it, British people always talk to Americans like we just walked into their jewelry store with 2 full bags of garbage. May I help you? Are you lost? Obviously, I love the Brits, and I would never do those jokes there. I have been lucky enough to perform in the UK a couple times, and one time I was walking through Piccadilly Circus, which, for the record, is a horrible circus. There's no animals. And no, I was walking through Piccadilly Circus, and I saw they had an M&M store, and I looked at that M&M store, and it just made me think of all the things the British have given the Americans. Like, our language, Shakespeare, the Magna Carta, and I looked at the M&M store, and I thought, now we're even. When I looked at the M&M story. I wasn't even embarrassed to be American. I was ashamed to be human. Because has anyone at any point in their life thought, when are they gonna open an M&M store? Sure, I can buy M&Ms absolutely anywhere, but I like to buy in bulk, in a pro-M&M environment. Obviously, we don't need an M&M store. We don't even need different colored M&Ms. They all taste the same. They're just bits of chocolate shaped like Advil. With an M on it. They're not even M&Ms, they're M's. We don't do that with anything else. You want some raisin and raisins? Go ahead. Grab a handful of raisin and raisins.